Welcome. We're here for another River Talk Extra, and I have Ryan Drish across the table from me.
How you doing, Brian?
Good. You got lost coming here. What the hell happened? Millville's pretty easy to find. I feel like this studio is as easy to find as any studio in the city. It's right on a main road.
Not great with Millville.
There's a sign out on the main drag, kind of directing people where to come in. I mean, it's kind of as simple as it could get.
A moron, Brian.
Well, I mean, this isn't rocket science. And here you are in the north side, the Strip District. You're just kind of all over the entire city.
You don't know how many 220, I'm not going to say the address on the air.
220 North, that's fine. Okay. North Avenue. Come down here if you think you have the guts to match Pittsburgh's moral compass, the king of the Allegheny, then bring it, because I know I'll beat your ass and I'll make you look like a chump in the process.
No, I typed it into my maps, and 4 addresses came up within the city limits. I'm like, I'm fucked. I know
that's
I'm
Millville.
Get lost.
I mean, everyone knows where Millville is. I mean, we've got two breweries.
But it wasn't coming
Mr.
up exactly.
Smalls
Well, sometimes it says one thing, but it's actually like the next like burrowing
excuses.
area.
Bullshit excuses.
You're right.
Just because you couldn't get here on time. I'm a busy person. I'm an important person.
I know.
And here I am taking more of my day aside to accommodate you.
How dare I?
You should consider yourself lucky to be in my presence.
I do.
So you're doing new things. You were, Mr. Drish, he was with There You Are.
Yes.
And he's not with There You Are anymore.
No, I am not. Guitar player by trade. Started off, well, I didn't start off with them. I was in a few other bands before that, but got together with Matt and Tom, grew up with them playing music, and we started that project for a while. And it just, artistically, you get to a point where you feel like I'm like beating a dead horse with this thing, and I gotta kind of try something new. So I did that, and now I'm doing that.
And what are you doing now?
I am producing music electronically and DJing.
Now that's extremely different than what you were doing with There You Are. So why was there such a radical change? What prompted you to make such a crazy change?
Well, I mean, I've always been into a wide spectrum of music. Like, I've always liked to say I respect and appreciate what music has done and where it's been, but I also respect and appreciate what it's doing and where it's going. So I have been going, been in and out of this type of a music scene for about the past 5 or 6 years, going to shows and stuff. Even whenever I was with the band, I was still, very much into it as a fan. And always had that like lingering thought in the back of my mind, but never took the dive to actually give it a shot, producing. So I saw this window opening up where the band wasn't really doing anything, and I had an opportunity to mess around and explore this new avenue, kind of, and I did, and it just took off, and so that's kind of the reason why I'm in the position I'm in.
Is there anyone you listen to that you kind of thought, I really like what they're doing, I kind of want to experiment and explore different options? Because I imagine if you're in a group, if you're in a band, you're performing a certain style, it's kind of, in some ways, almost difficult to venture off and try new things because you're in almost a comfort zone. You're familiar with what you're doing.
Yeah. I don't know if there was anything one in particular. I saw. I remember what made me decide that I was going to start doing it was I think it was the 2014 Excision show at Stage AE. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a dubstep artist from Canada.
Okay.
But that kind of is what pushed me over the edge to just give it a try. Just because it was my first like really big live performance. I've been to small underground things and like little sham shows like that. But I saw that show and was just so hit and enthused by like the intensity of it. It's just something that always drew me to the genre in general.
Why electronic music? I mean, obviously it's very popular. You go to a lot of clubs, especially overseas and things like that. It can be popular in different areas, and it's growing here in certain communities. Why do some people almost look down on it? I don't understand that, because I was listening when Daft Punk, for example, they won an award. Yeah. And everyone was like bitching about it. They were mad. I'm thinking like, well, why are you mad? Why do you care?
And that's a stretch for people to get mad at them because they've been doing this for a minute and they're not like just some type of like pop commercial act. Like they've stayed true to what they do.
But people were bitching and they were mad that they didn't take their masks off during the award. And I'm thinking, well, what are they going to do? Destroy everything that got them to this point just so they can appease some Hollywood snobs?
It got a stigma to it. It's just the music and the culture itself. Thanks to some of the bigger name festivals and stuff, it brings this image to the culture that people think that it's just a bunch of kids on drugs, half dressed, sweating, but they want to jump up and down a whole lot.
Well, what's the difference between that and rock and roll? I mean,
that's what I say. That's like I get baffled by these older people that are like, saying like, oh, that's not music, and like, what did your parents say to you about like stuff you listen to, and you don't see the the mirrored situations, like, yeah. So I don't really know, but I think it just got a stigma over the years of what certain bad eggs have brought to the culture of the music, and that's why.
Yeah, and honestly, I will credit Daft Punk. They're the ones who kind of introduced me, at least, to that style of music. And I was into it back when Discovery came out in the '90s, and believe it or not, it was actually Cartoon Network that turned me on
really?
to them. Yeah, because
how did that happen?
Because they would play. Well, are you familiar with Interstellar 5555?
No.
Okay, so basically, the album Discovery came out, and there was a Japanese animator who liked the album so much that he made a full-length feature movie based on their album, and there isn't a word of dialogue in the entire movie. It is literally just the CD. They just run the entire album through, and there's a story that goes along with it, and you basically know every single thing that every character is saying just based on what is...
You follow the dynamic of the story even though there's no dialogue.
Yes, based on it's almost like a modern silent movie.
That's
awesome. They have music in the background instead. And it's so perfectly done. I mean, this guy, the animator's a master. He's done a phenomenal job. And
Japanese guy? So
yeah,
an
Japanese
anime
guy. I can't think of his name offhand.
Okay.
But he put this out, and Toonami actually played different... They broke the movie off into music videos.
Okay.
And I saw those different videos, and that's what got me exposed to their music.
Yeah.
So actually, Cartoon Network that was my gateway into some electronics type of music.
Well, but shout out to Cartoon Network and Japanese people too, because they push this music more than anybody else.
They do,
that's for
sure. So, you said you've been around. We were talking a little bit before we went to air. You've been to Miami and other places. Where all do you travel, and how does that all work out? Is that something I know you said you have a manager? Is he the one who kind of books those types of trips?
Well, I guess you could kind of call him a road manager. But what happened was I got invited to do a show in Altoona for this kid who I didn't know at the time's like release show or whatever. Tyler Matty. Shout out Tyler Matty, actually. Okay. It's Ty Matts on Instagram and everything else. Brought me up and got me the gig, and I met this kid, Tyler Hamill from Altoona, who's an R&B singer, and Tyler Hamill on Instagram and everything else. He introduced me to his team, and, like he calls him his manager, and that is definitely what he is, but they all grew up and have known each other for years and years, which was like kind of what attracted me to the group. The manager's name is Jamel Felder. He founded this company, Dionysus.
Okay.
And I got hooked up with them, and ever since then, I got on the team, and we have gone to, so far, South Carolina, Miami, Altoona, and I think North Carolina will be next. But it's really just been over the past 4 months that this is all happening, so... There's really not a whole lot to talk about because it's happening fast. But
you said you're on a team, so when you do you go to like a show and you kind of it's almost like a lineup or different?
Yes, yeah, okay. It's definitely a unique kind of format because I am the backing DJ for all of the artists as well. So I'm up there the whole time and sometimes emceeing and hosting and bringing up the guys and keeping the energy up. But I usually open up the sets with what I do and then close them down with what I do. So, I mean, I love the way that we do it and the way that it's formatted right now.
It's got to be a neat opportunity for you because people may come to see some of these other artists, but then they get exposed to you, and being that you bookend the entire performance, most of the people are going to end up seeing you, even if they come in late or come in early. They're going to...
Yeah, and that has its advantages too, definitely. The thing is, it's a dynamic group. Like, I do what I do, which is heavy, but I don't know. People would probably classify it as trap or dubstep electronic music. And then Tyler is an R&B singer. JT945 from Miami is a rapper. We have another rapper on the team, Sicka Sounds, and then me. So it's like we're kind of all over the place. So it's hard to make all that work together and make a crowd that came from one of those artists like all of us. But we managed to do it. So we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing.
Is there an opportunity in your style of music to almost become more successful as far as in a financial way? Because I feel like in a lot of local music, for example, it's hard to make money. It's hard to get your name out there.
Yeah.
But in this situation, you're going maybe to clubs and things like that where people are going to flock to for the entire experience. It's not
Right.
like when you're a musician in a band, you have to try to get people in the door to buy tickets to listen to you perform. Here, you almost have outside factors working with you. Is that correct?
In a way. I mean, you also have things working against you at the same time. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the popularity of the genre and the growing numbers in it doesn't hurt. But at the same time, then you're in somewhat of a flooded market. But from making electronic music and knowing how to produce music digitally, and I've been recording with bands since I was like 13 as well, so that comes into play, just being able to record organic instruments. I can make beats for hip hop artists if I'd like to. I can make beats for commercial use. So in that sense, yeah, definitely there are more avenues to make money than as if I were a bass player.
What
in a
are some
band
of
in
the
Pittsburgh.
What are some of the obstacles? Because you did say there are some obstacles to
Like I
this.
said, that there's a lot of people doing it. There's a lot of phonies doing it, and it's just an oversaturated thing at the time. And that's probably not the right word to use, phonies, but
Well,
it's guys that kind of like ride the coattails of what's going on.
Is there a lot of piracy in it?
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
that's what I could see. I imagine, especially with electronic, it would be easy for somebody who isn't an expert in the craft or somebody who's working on their own material to kind of pirate someone else's and pretend it's their own. Almost like when you go out to see certain DJs that, even, at a local establishment, they've got this vast library, and then you look at their library and it's all pirated material. They're not making their own. They're not.
Well, people who are proclaimed DJs don't necessarily have to have any of their own original material, but I advertise as a DJ/producer because I like to mix. I mean, I do use other people's tracks because I am a DJ.
Yeah.
But they are curated by me, they're mixed by me, and there's things done with them by me, as well as my own personal stuff mixed in throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a very vague line to figure out exactly, like, what am I listening to? Like, how much of this did this guy actually do? And, that makes it difficult in itself. Yeah, because, it's hard to get credibility whenever you have people doing that type of thing.
Is it, on a personal level, as a DJ versus what you're doing now with electronic music versus what you were doing with There You Are, are you more on the spot as a DJ, or were you more on the spot in your previous band? What's more maybe challenging for you?
On the spot as in, like
everyone's got their focus on you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you more worried about something maybe going wrong? What's like the layout? We're with Ryan Drish, formerly of There You Are, now a electronic DJ all over the country.
Well, I'd say the East Coast at best, but you're definitely, I think, more on the spot doing what I do now than doing what I was doing before, because I had, two other bandmates, well, three whenever I left, that were, whenever I would make a mistake, they would cover my ass, as well as the fact that I had nothing but my guitar plugged into my amp, and, things would go wrong there on occasion, but that's all I really had to worry about. Now it's like, clipping, like I'm in control of the whole mix of like all sounds that are coming out of these speakers at this time, as well as mixing on the fly, because I do that at every show, having things prepared, and just technical difficulties are definitely more vast, I think, because I'm dealing with nothing but technology as opposed to organic instruments.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of curious as a
James
guitarist.
Kerwin here. Jumping on.
Has your experience in playing in a band and then as a guitarist, has that impacted your electronic music in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just kind of figuring out why this past couple of weeks, because I always knew that I wanted to apply what I learned in guitar and my style of playing into what
How has it influenced?
I'm doing now. This most recent track that I just made, it's actually my first single called Cicada, in honor of our good friends that are here for these couple of weeks with us. I integrated a pentatonic scale, which was my main soloing scale in guitar for the lead synth, and it was just it's a very it's a minor scale, so it has more of a dark sound to it, and it was kind of hard for me to figure out how to cross over using that arrangement of notes into my music now, but I knew that I wanted to do it somehow, and I figured out how to do it on this. You might not hear it, to the unaided ear, why this sounds like a guitar scale, but it is. Yeah.
I'm very
So-
excited. It's going to be fun to listen to. Where do you plan to go with your music career now that it's changed and it's morphed into the electronic scene that you're in now? What are your plans? How do you plan to expand? Obviously, I think probably being with this, working collaboratively with these other artists is definitely something that's going to aid you in growing your brand. But what else do you plan to do to try and expand?
It's hard to have a plan in this type of an industry. I'm sure you feel the same way about doing what you do, anything creatively. It
Don't
changes. You don't sleep
don't
for
sleep.
one,
Yes.
and it just changes. You think that here's my goal by next month. I want to have this much done and this much done and be here. But then in a month, you may not have done those things, but still have felt that you progressed in a different way equally. So. It's changing every day. I'm just hoping to keep doing what I'm doing, and
Well, the network is constantly crashing the bandwidth because so many people are fighting to listen to the River's Edge Radio Network when I'm on air. So I don't have those
Right.
types of problems. But
I wouldn't imagine.
I can understand. Yeah.
I forgot how much of a ham you are. I enjoy it.
I'm just honest, brutally honest.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I just want to keep making what I'm making, and I'm just like finding my style of music in this subgenre right now. Like just really this past couple months, like completely. I knew that I.
What do you
had
do
an
to set
idea,
yourself
but-
apart?
Well, I like to involve a little more organic drums than most electronic producers do. I like a nice drum fill that sounds like it was right off of a Pearl Export set right in the middle of it, and integrating more organic elements like that as well. But at the same time, keeping the grittiness of what like dubstep and trap and the stuff that I'm into is. So it's it's hard to explain, but I feel like when you hear it, you'll know like what sets it apart.
What are all of your internets? Twitter, Facebook, all of that.
Drish drop it on him. That's actually a name that JT945 gave to me, but it's stuck in more than one D. The name is always good.
Same for
So,
Twitter, same for
Yeah,
Facebook.
and Drish drop it on him, and Ryan Drish, RyanDrish on Facebook.
Look him up. Check his music out. We're going
Thank
to play
you.
a song for you right now. You're listening to River Talk Extra. I am Brian Crawford. I am the most interesting man in the burg. You're listening to the River's Edge Radio Network.